What it is, y'all, it is your old boy Pilk, and I'm coming back at you today with a long overdue video. My apologies, guys. If you were at Tuesday night's stream, my entire computer crashed right at the end of the stream. I do have the clip show coming out about the stream, so stay tuned for that. That is on its way. But for now, we are going to talk about Familia Rush. Now, let's talk about this, because I know this is super overdue, and I've had multiple comments from people waiting for this video. Let's talk about strategies, and let's talk about teams, okay? First of all, Familia Rush, enemy number 1, Electro Rock. Thunder physical and magic attack, unleashes taunt and stun. If you want to outfit your team the absolute best, I personally feel like the Thunder Cloaks are a great option. I do know they taunt, I do know they stun, but if you have the new Seer, or even the Adrione from last year, anybody that has 2 or even 3 times amulet resistance would be very, 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 very good here. Basically, they don't taunt, they don't stun very often. I think they do 1 of each, if I remember correctly. I always run Seer nowadays because Seer just has 3 times. And in the few runs we've done in the past 2 days, I have never gotten stunned or taunted as long as I'm using her. So unless they up that later on in the fight, I don't believe they do, you should be fine. Just make sure if you're sacking unit, i.e. using the revolving amulet to bring in units later in the fight. Have you ever seen when I do like Record Buster or anything like that, we always like, you know, especially 7th zone, we always have somebody that like leaves in the beginning of the match and then somebody else comes back in. That's the revolving amulet. If you don't have that, you basically have to run Record Buster and get a bunch of medals to build them. They're very useful. But make sure whoever your last unit coming in, that's the unit that has the amulet resistance, because it's then going to affect everybody. If you put the amulet resistance on your first rotation, the first 3 units, it is going to be gone. It's not going to work for your final unit. So it'll definitely work for the first 3, but it won't work for your final unit. So the best bet is to put it on your final unit, bring him or her in, and then go to town. Let's talk about resistances. Thunder resistance up 30. Fire, wind, water, light, and dark are all 0. Earth is down 50. Physical and resist are 0. So you want to make sure you use an earth team that is comprised of either physical or magic. I'm using kind of a combination of each, but they will take this apart. And frankly, if you have the the student Leafia, the one from the Harry Potter crossover, not a crossover, but like thing that we had back in October of last year. If you have that Leafia, she's absolutely great for this because she reduces earth resistance by another 50%, takes them apart at the seams. Now, let's talk OG Haruhime. You know what? I'm gonna wait till part 3 to talk about OG Haruhime. I'm gonna wait. I will just say I think OG Haruhime isn't the greatest for this. I really think Winter Haruhime is slightly better, but you've got units that remove the strength and magic debuffs. Use those units. Take distinct advantage of those units. Like I said, Winter Haru is a great option for that, but if you have a unit that can still attack with... I don't know if there's anybody that does earth attacks, but if you have somebody that can do decent attacks either with anything but Thunder that removes strength and magic debuffs, great. Absolutely stellar. Make sure you throw them on there. Even if you can debuff Thunder a little bit and still use Thunder, it wouldn't be terrible. But reducing strength and magic debuffs will really make your team shine. Your team will do so much better with those units because that debuff is substantial and it will zap your power. You're really looking to produce the most power possible. So, Thunder Cloaks, I think, are your best option. A unit that removes strength and magic debuffs, and an assist that either has 2 or preferably 3 times ailment resistance really would make this absolutely stellar. Now, as far as producing the most amount of damage, it says down here, earth attacks are easy to get through, so use an earth attribute unit. Material killer works. So in other words, you need one of the material killers. If you haven't seen it, here are all the material killers. Lyra is one of the best units for this. I use Lyra. Basically what I do is I use Leafia's SA, and then I build up another SA, and I use it late in the game with Lyra, and she produces crazy damage. My Lyra's only +2, and she's been unleashing like 1 million plus attack damage after debuffs, obviously, and all that, per unit. She's been killing it. She's amazing. You've got to use material killers here, guys. You must use material killers. They really take them apart at the seams. So start planning those stacks accordingly. If you have one of these units max limit broken, definitely throw them on your team. Like, anybody that's not a Thunder that's max limit broken is still going to produce absolutely stellar damage. So take advantage. Build your stacks accordingly. Okay. If you want to see this sell, it is in the Discord. It is in the guides. Make sure you join the Discord. We are coming up on 1,000 members of the Discord. We'll do something very special when that happens. So if you aren't part of the Discord, make sure you join. It is always in the description down below. And we have a very good Danmachi community over there, as well as other games that we cover as well. So that's enemy number 1. Thunder Cloaks, ailment resistance, remove strength and magic, earth, and use material colors. That will get you through, and you'll produce insane damage. Per usual, I'm not going to show you my teams because I am going to keep a little bit. It is a little bit of a competitive situation, so I don't want to put everything out there, but I do want to give you guys enough information that you will most certainly be able to thrive. So there you go. Like I said, we will talk about OG Haru, but we're going to talk about her in enemy 3. For now, enemy 2. Wind physical attack, wind magic attack. Once again, if you have the wind cloaks, use those. Unleashes stun. Once again, use the 2 to 3 times. Ailment resistance, you'll be fine. I think they stun twice in the fight. So if you have 2 times the ailment resistance, even like that, the OG Hestia that does it, you'll be absolutely fine. You ain't got nothing to worry about at that point. Water resistance is up 30%. Earth, wind, thunder, light, and dark are 0. Fire is down 30. Physical is down 20. Magic is at 0. So what I would recommend doing here, if you have the Elise from the previous event, she and even like Krazo from last year's event, they make a really, really, really great team. Argo to a lesser extent, but Krazo really makes Argo irrelevant once he's buffed by the SA of Elise. And if you can get that Elise SA off early in the match, and just, you will be killing it. Now, once again, you want material killers. You really, really, really do. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe Kaguya. I'm going to call her, I'm going to call her Gojira because I've been calling her that, and I think it's hilarious. Yeah. Gojira here, she is a fire type. Go figure. She's Gojira and fire. And she does physical resistance minus 60%. So, if you can get those SAs off early, use like Finn, even use Casino Seer maybe. If you can get those off really, really, really early, you will be able to produce insane damage. So see if you can spam those SAs early on in the fight, and use her SA, use Elise's SA, you will love life. Love life. And you don't even have to have the max limit broken. Just use them to the best of your ability. Taking a unit with fire physical attack, they'll unleash a stun attack, so take stun countermeasures. I personally feel like just taking a unit that has ailment resistance is perfectly fine. If you want to use the stun amulets, it's only 1 ailment, that's perfectly acceptable. I wouldn't worry about it too much. It's either one of those is an acceptable option. It's relatively easy stage to fight, so use enhancements and additional actions to take on damage. Remember, some of these units have additional attacks. Lyra does. Now, here's the deal, and I'll go ahead and talk about OG Haruhime here. Okay, in the past, this new meta where you do the additional actions. If you're not familiar with what Lyra does, let me see if I can just pull her up on screen here. Wasn't anticipating doing this, but I think we can bring her up on screen. Where is Lyra? Boom. Sorry. Give me a moment, guys. I'd edit this out, but I'm not going to because I'm lazy. Is Lyra not fire? No, Lyra is not fire. Kaguya does it, though, doesn't she? Yes, Kaguya does it. So, Gojira, my girl. So, let's bring the game up on screen here. Alright, so here's Kaguya. Bloom Red, high fire physical attack with temporary strength boost and ultra encounter rate, self plus 2 actions, low fire physical attack foes. So this is an AoE low fire physical attack. While that doesn't sound too impressive, remember, that is 2 extra turns that every time she attacks, she's now doing extra bits of damage. OG Haruhime will not replicate that. Now, it's your call whether you want to use OG Haruhime to keep the buffs in place and then just spam that. But because she doesn't do that, it's almost worth just rebuffing, because even the buff still does that damage, and then keep doing that attack. There is something to be said about that. Now, when we get to enemy 3, that's when I really feel like OG Haruhime is now completely irrelevant. But Haruhime will not replicate this, so you want to use Bloom Red as often as possible. Now, to be fair, in this situation with Kaguya, Gojira, this is the action that you spam, but it really does like pay it forward if you just want to go use this low fire physical attack. Now, the only thing that is kind of interesting here is that physical resist is only down for 1 turn. So you actually, I take that back, you would have to use OG on this one. I forgot that hers was only 1 turn. So you use OG Haru, you spam Yosuga when she does Scatter Stroke, and then you do, I don't know, Shika when she does Bloom Red, and then back and forth. And you would really be able to just take advantage of that. So I take it back. OG Haru is a must with Gojira, or at least somebody that replicates buffs. There are a few units out there that do it beyond Haru. In fact, Krazo actually replicates buffs himself with his final skill, though to be fair, it is not an AoE. So plan your teams accordingly. We are finally seeing a meta where OG Haru is not going to be the best, and we'll talk about that here on the next unit. In fact, that's a great segue. Let's jump over to Familia Rush enemy number 3, Clayrock. Okay? Clayrock Earth Physical Attack unleashes Strength buff skill, so you need to remove that Strength buff at all possible times. Removes all Strength and Elemental damage skills. Now, Strength, Magic, and Elemental damage is gone on the end of turn 3. So it says down here, at the end of the 3rd turn, we'll use Mode Offense, which increases its Strength, and Mode Defense, which unleashes Strength, Magic, and Element damage. It says Element damage, but that's actually a debuff. It's hilarious because they fixed the cell. In the initial cell, they told us he had poison. They took poison out, but they didn't fix this. I don't know. Anyway, Mode Defense will actually remove all your Strength, Magic, and Elemental damage buffs. So on turn 4, you have to rebuff. This is that situation where I say Haruhime is rather useless here. Because on this one, you're going to be using, so Fire's up 30, Light is up 50, Earth, Thunder, and Dark are 0. Wind resistance is down 40%, so you want to use a single target wind team. If you have the new eyes, she wrecks this event. Physical and magic are both 0. So basically, bring eyes, bring anybody else that does wind resistance. Eyes is a material killer. And I will tell you, my eyes is only +2, and she's been hitting like an absolute truck. It's been great. So if you have the new eyes, 100% use her. She is fantastic. Now, if you're using a unit that does multiple attacks, one of the new units that does that, which I believe actually, I think eyes does too. Let's go back here and double check that. Could be completely wrong on that one. Where's eyes? Where's eyes? Girl, there she is. So, Eyes Wallenstein. So, yes, Berserker Rush. She does self 3 actions, low wind physical attack with foes singular, with a high penetration rate on those extra attacks. Eyes is disgusting. She is absolutely great, but she's very conditional. You have to use her on an event basically built like this or built like the previous Record Buster we got. Very conditional, but very, very good when she's active. If you have that unit, so basically, turn 1, buff. Turn 2, go ahead and do Berserker Rush. Turn 3, you're going to do Skill 2. You're going to do Skill 2 for turn 3. Turn 4, you're going to have to rebuff. But the nice part is, this unit doesn't remove the SA gauge charge. So if you want to sack Line, she's a great option here. Line will increase the SA gauge buff, and it'll just go smoothly for the rest of the fight. Also, it will not remove those extra actions. There is nothing in the game yet. Not even Finn from Record Buster that we had previously will remove those extra actions. I'm sure there will be somebody at some point later on in the game. Maybe by this time next year we'll have somebody that does it. But right now, nobody removes those extra actions. So if you have someone like Kaguya, like Eyes, like any one of the new units, that does that. Gareth, for example. Anybody that has those extra actions basically cannot be nullified at this point in the game. So at this point, I say take Haruhime off this team. No point in using her. You got to rebuff anyway. That's the number one thing she does. This dude does not hit hard enough that you have to heal very often. You can put another healer on your team that still does damage. You don't have to have the penetration rate, because if you have eyes, she already has high penetration on those extra attacks. There's many things you can do. Pay close attention to these types of things, guys. We default use Haruhime in every team, and they found a way to make her a lot less relevant. So I feel like this is the first team in a very long time where I say OG Haruhime is a less than optimal choice. Not a bad choice, but a less than optimal choice. I said it. She's still the best unit in the game, without question or doubt. But they're slowly kind of working their way around this. They've done a lot of things to make her less relevant, but it's never quite worked, and they've never quite replicated her. Now they're kind of shifting the meta, so she's not as good as she used to be. And I think that's very, very wise and very interesting. So let me know what you guys, in the comments section down below, let me know what you think about this meta shift, because I think it's very strategic and interesting. We told a lot of people to go chase her, and I think that's still wise for like 7th Zone or any of the other fights, Monsterphilia, any of those other types of things. But I really find it interesting. This is gonna change the game a lot. So take countermeasures to protect yourself from powerful all-target enemy attack. I really feel like Earth Cloaks, if you have those, if you built those for a couple Record Busters ago, the first time we got Finn, then you'll be in great shape. Unleash a strength buff skill. If you can remove strength buffs, absolutely stellar. I haven't needed to personally yet. He hasn't produced that much damage. But remember, the further we go into the fight, the harder he's going to hit. So start planning now. Unleashes remove all strength, element, and magic damage. So in other words, once those are gone, you got to rebuff. But remember, if you're using someone that has those extra actions stay in play even with those removed. That will also mean that your SA gauge charge stays in play if you're able to replicate that. I still think that that is not the greatest use of your skills, but it is worth noting. Earth, Water, Thunder resist 0, Wind resist down 40, so use Wind, Physical, or Magic, it doesn't matter. They'll be great. So hopefully that gives you guys some strategies. And once again, of course, material killers. So I'll show the material killer cell off one more time. These are all the material killers we currently have in the game. These units are going to be absolutely fantastic for these events. Just be aware, because like some of these units are light, some of these units are thunder, some of these units are fire. Not all these units are going to work for all rounds. So make sure you're using your skill set properly. Case in point, thunder resistance is up 30 here. I believe fire resistance and light resistance is up here. So fire and light units are a poor selection there. Water is up here. So make good selections on your team. Build 3 separate teams, and go back and watch this video a couple times and make sure that you're using your skills to the best of your ability. All these cells, including the material killers, will be once again in the Discord under the Danmachi guides, so make sure you pay attention to that. Join the Discord. Like I said, we are coming up on 1,000 members, and it is really awesome to see this community grow, so we'd love to have you even if you're not part of the Familia. That's gonna be the video, guys. Let me know what you guys thought in the comments section down below. Sorry this took so long to get out, but I'm very happy to be back, and I hope this helps you guys out. If it did, let me know by hitting that old thumbs up button. Let me know I'm doing a good job. I'll catch you guys on the next one, which will hopefully not be 2 days from now. Hopefully it'll be later today.